H-Town, what it do? I'm Nick Stevenson, the president of Houston Sports. He is Ruben Calvillo, Mr. 713. This is the Twin Toros podcast. Man, give me my theme music. All right, fella. First of all, thank everybody once again for supporting the show. Shout out to ESPN Houston for allowing us to use their platform. It's been such a pleasure to share Houston sports, celebrate Houston sports. I want to remind you guys to please follow Ruben on 713 Houston Sports. Follow myself on Houston Sports State of the Union podcast. I will have all of those links in the description of this video. Also, if you're watching, there's going to be a little QR code in the corner. That is a QR code to our tip jar. I'll leave a link in the description as well. If you guys are enjoying the show, enjoying the content, and you want to leave us a little something, we'll take it, and we appreciate it. And everything you leave to us is just going to go right back into this show so we can continue bringing you guys great content. But, man, let's talk about the Texans versus the Bills. Ruben, you and I said that if the Texans were going to win this game, they were going to need to be better than they have been the previous 3 weeks. Well, my friend, they were better. 23-20 victory. No Joe Mixon, no Christian Harris, no Titus Howard. Most of the game without Nico. You still pull out a good win against a good Buffalo squad. Let me know, man, because I felt like they still left some meat on the bone too. But overall, what was your feeling on the win?
You know, with games like this, when both teams are 3-1, when you have two great quarterbacks in this game, however, one of them only played, great, and that was CJ Stroud. Sure. You are very satisfied with a win like this. This is the Houston Texans' biggest win of the season. They were underdogs coming into this game. A lot of people predicted the Houston Texans to be humbled by the Buffalo Bills, and that just wasn't the case, man. However, there is, two parts of this game. There's the first half, there's the second half, right? Once again, the second half plague of just couldn't get nothing going was there. In the first half, that first quarter, we saw the full potential of this passing attack, and we even saw it with some running game as well. Unfortunately, Nico Collins went out in the first quarter, but he was about to torch the Buffalo Bills secondary for the game.
Yeah,
I'm very happy with this win. 4-1. Who would like? This is fantastic. This is exactly what you wanted to see as a Houston Texans fan. When you barely escape, maybe survive by a 59-yard field goal from Kaimi Fairbairn, one of the best kickers in the NFL. Just seeing that, who it's against, a very good football team, man. You feel very good. We're feeling a lot different, than our, close victory than last week against Jacksonville.
Yeah, it did have a different feel. I was going to say not every win is created equally. And, the Buffalo Bills came in obviously off a pretty embarrassing loss against the Ravens. But before that, this offense had been cooking with grease, man. And I got to say, I made a list of positives and negatives because, once again, we're not going to ignore in victory what we wouldn't in defeat. But most of the positives I have were on the defensive end. The defense balled out, man. Josh Allen, 181 yards passing. He was 9 for 30. It's the worst game he's had in a long time. I didn't know if that was Josh Allen out there or if that was Nathan Peterman. I was like, who's wearing number 17 right now?
Very uncharacteristic.
Yeah, very, very uncharacteristic. But this defense balled out, man. And we'll talk about, some position grades because I think all three levels of the defense, in my opinion, played extremely well. But you said it. Another 300-plus yard day for CJ Stroud. And his plays were electric, man. Like, this dude's not Lamar Jackson, but his ability to manipulate and move in the pocket and escape pressure, and he even had a little, what was it, a 10-yard run for a first down there. That is what our quarterback is, man. This whole sophomore slump, this whole CJ fraud that they want to tell us about in the AFC South war zone, this dude is legit. He is the real deal, and he's proven it week after week. Now, he did make a couple of mistakes.
Sure.
And what I love about this team, though, and this is one of the reasons that this win feels good, because we've said this a lot over the last 2 years. This is one of those games that the old Texans team of the past would have lost. They would have found a way to lose. And I know everybody's upset that we're playing so many close games, one-score games, but in the NFL, you have a team who knows how to win close games. That is very, very valuable, very, very important. Once again, in crunch time, they executed the way they needed to. You brought up the third quarter. The third quarter this whole season has been terrible for the Houston Texans. It's something that they're going to have to figure out. But when crunch time came, once again, they executed. They were disciplined, penalty-free. They played an almost penalty-free first half, man, and it's been a tale of two halves. And I listened to both DeMeco and CJ Stroud. Both of them have said how in the NFL, it's really difficult to play 4 quarters of perfect football. And I know that sometimes as fans, we want to see that. We're waiting to see this team blow somebody out by 30, right? But in the NFL, any given Sunday, that's just not necessarily the case. So when you take all of the factors in place, I brought up everybody who was missing. And I brought in the fact that this is a very, very good football team. You are satisfied with a 23-20 win. Yeah, would I have liked to, we talk about that 30-point mark. Would we have liked that? I have a feeling, man, with a healthy team, we're going to hit that eventually. That is if we can get healthy. Nico kind of worries me, man, because you know how hamstrings are. Those things linger. And now
I don't want to see him against the Patriots.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I don't think you need him against the Patriots. Shout out to Stephon Diggs, too, who stepped up in a big way. Even Tank Dell made a few plays. I was just very, very happy to see that. Now, the offense looked different. Don't get me wrong. Without Nico, it looked different. And that just solidifies him, as you talked about last week, as one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in the NFL.
I mean, 78 yards in the first quarter. Nico was just having his way, and it felt like he could have gone for 2 and 3. The passing attack was there in the first quarter, and you're absolutely correct. The offense did look different, when he wasn't there. However, there were some moments. Stephon Diggs really did step up in this game, and he had 6 receptions, 82 yards, 13 yards a catch, and I feel like majority of those catches were for first downs. This game meant a lot to him, regardless of what he said pre this game. This meant a lot for Stephon. You heard Nico say that we wanted to win this for Stephon, and overall, this was a good team win. I really don't want to see him against the Patriots.
Nope.
Just keep him on the shelf. Like you said, these hamstring injuries, they are tricky. They are day-to-day. And with Nico, the fact that he is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, I could confidently say that now. You have to, cautiously monitor this situation. I think if you get Joe Mixon back, that makes me feel a hell of a lot better. You brought up CJ Stroud and, his day. You look at the 2 turnovers, the INT in the fourth quarter, and then, the forced fumble coming off of a Blake Fisher pressure. Those things are going to happen, right? What you saw CJ Stroud go to the sideline, looked upset, and who came right over? Joe Mixon to lift his head up. I love this Houston Texans team.
Yeah.
It's like what you said earlier. We would have lost this game before. And honestly, you could say that about majority of our wins. Hell, you could say that about majority of our wins last year.
Yeah.
The old Houston Texans lose this game. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is not the same old Houston Texans. And the past 3 weeks, we were saying, can you clean up the penalties? They did that. Now we're saying get healthy. The Houston Texans have been able to win football games going through so much adversity that they themselves put on them. And the fact that they're winning football games, they're 4-1, first place in the AFC South, second in the AFC overall. Dude, you're feeling fantastic.
Yeah, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, Ruben, but last season I believe they were 9-3 in 1-score games.
I think so. I have to fact check us.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. It was something like 9-3, 7-3. I meant to check that, but man, it's been a long week. But right now, I mean, they're what, 3-0, 4-0, and all of our wins have been 1-score games so far. That's not normal. Usually, and I remember seeing somebody before the season started on our first take. I can't remember who it was. It might have been like Feinbaum or somebody who was saying that they were actually expecting the Texans to not make the playoffs.
Oh, I remember that.
Because of the fact that they won so many 1-score games and they figure, okay, you're going to regress back to the mean and you're going to lose some of those. Well, shout out to this Houston Texans coaching staff and shout out to the players, man, because when it comes to crunch time, they were clutch city yesterday, man. And I hope they continue to do that. I hope they continue to improve. You know, that's one of the things I put in my positives. Like, maybe it was still a one-score game. It wasn't that dominant blowout, but first of all, we got to stop expecting that. In the NFL, especially, we already knew coming in we had a tougher schedule than last season. So the fact that you're coming out of this, man, you're 4-1. When I did my show, when the schedule came out, when I was doing the Houston Sports State of the Union podcast, I had them going 5-2 through the first 7 games. And so far, they're on track. I had them losing to the Colts and beating the Vikings, but other than that, they're right on track. I'm talking to a lot of people who are expecting us to win the next 2 games. They think we can go into Green Bay and get a dub there.
I think we can.
I think we can too. I realistically don't expect that. I'm expecting by the end of the Green Bay game that this team will be 5-2, as I had predicted earlier. But I cannot complain about anything that I saw yesterday, other than they had a lot of penalties in the third quarter. Obviously, they made a concerted effort to clean that up, so I'm assuming they're going to continue to do that. 78 had 0 false starts. He hasn't had any in the last 2 games, so I'm extremely happy about that. And then I want to shout out Bobby Slowick, man, because the Texans ran for 94 yards in this game. I know a lot of people were watching the TV, and I even saw it on social media while I was watching the game. Why do we keep running the ball? Why did Bobby Slowick stop running the ball? Look, man, you can't throw the ball 60 times a game. I love the fact that Bobby Slowick does not give up on the run, and he forces the defense to respect it. And although it wasn't an explosive day on the ground, man, it was a good running game that we've seen without your number 1 and your number 2 running back for the last couple of games, man. So I'm really happy with this win. I have not much to complain about. Obviously, there's things to fix, and I'll get into that when we start talking about our negatives. But overall, man, like you said, I'm good with it. I'm happy with what we saw.
No, I mean, absolutely, dude. Like I said, Buffalo Bills were a very good football team coming into this week. You know, you had a lot of people calling it Josh Allen a front runner for the MVP already.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, now those conversations have dwindled. And, dude, we're Victory Monday. You know, we're 4-1.
You know what? Josh Allen, he looked bad, but I thought the game plan by the Bills wasn't good either. And I was actually texting my buddy Prescott Kelly. He's the host of Chopping It Up with P. Scott. You guys get an opportunity to check out his podcast. He's actually a Bills fan who lives in Alaska. But he was texting me, and I don't understand. One of the negatives I had in that from the Texans is that they were getting gashed in the run game, especially early on. But for some reason, McDermott abandoned it in the second quarter. And Josh, I understand you got Josh Allen as your quarterback, but he didn't have it yesterday. And as soon as they started running the ball again, all of a sudden, that's when they started scoring and made it a close game. How do you feel about McDermott as a coach, man? He's not one of those coaches that when the Bills are coming into town, I'm not like, oh no, man, what are we gonna do about McDermott? How are we gonna handle that defense? It's just, I don't know. What are your thoughts on him as a coach?
You know, also entering this game, I was talking to my guy who's a Bills fan, Dan Mitchell. Shout out to him and the Roundtable Network. You know, was saying how this is a big game for McDermott, and after this game, he's done. And I feel like it might be time for a change in Buffalo. Go get you a new head coach if this season doesn't pan out the way you want. There was a lot of Buffalo Bills fans upset with the loss last night, and a lot of people put the blame on McDermott. You know, I agree with you. You know, the round game for Buffalo was good. 82 yards from James Cook. Josh Allen had 54. Of course, you always want the ball in number 17 hands when you're a Buffalo Bills fan. But was surprised that they did go away from the run. The passing game was just not working for them. Yeah. However, there's always some situations where they needed to pass the ball and they just couldn't.
Yeah.
It was just a tough day for that offense, man. When you have one of your worst days ever, almost ever in your career, it's a tough situation.
Yeah, for sure. And here's the thing. I don't want to nitpick, but there were some things that the Texans could have done better.
Yeah, stop putting my quarterback in 3rd and 7. That could be one.
Yeah, for sure.
Stop having
for sure.
him, have to be magical.
Yeah, because he was running around a lot, and even when he doesn't run, a lot of times he's having to maneuver in the pocket and get the ball out quickly. And I would just like to see him a little bit better protected. I'm not gonna dump on the O-line this game because I actually gave them their best grade of the season for this game. But also, I want to give him a game ball, but Azeez Al-Shaair should have picked off Josh Allen twice.
And that's the thing, man, right? He's a tackling machine. He's a captain. He just can't catch the football.
I'm gonna give him a little pass because apparently he was sick. I saw him blowing his nose into the towel on the sideline.
Hit you right in the face mask, bro. You're supposed to catch that. Bro, at least one of them, right? You can argue Christian Harris would have had two. Now, here's the thing. I don't even want to see Christian Harris, right? Take your time
for sure.
Coming back. These linebackers are firing on all cylinders. We need to shout out Henry To'oTo'o. He has had himself a great start to the season.
Very impressed with him.
To get better. Number 39 is showing you that, maybe we could wait on Christian Harris getting here.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, they're playing a lot of nickel with just the two linebackers. I haven't seen Hansen in the game very much at all. They're going with Azeez and To'oTo'o, and then they're bringing in, Petrie, Bullock, Eric Murray,
third linebacker for you.
Yeah, for sure. So it's working. It's working. We every game, and we even had one in this game. We talk about a busted coverage, and we said Josh Allen isn't going to miss those. Well, he did miss one in the first quarter, but at the same time, I know that the defensive line didn't have all the sexy stats. They only had one sack. Petrie almost had another one, but Josh Allen is
Anderson almost had one too at the very end.
That's true. You
just got to get those, man. It's like I'm tired of these almost sacks, dude. Like, I get it, like, it looks good on PFF, and it looks good to us who are the diehard Houston Texans fans and understand the metrics and stuff.
Yeah.
But, to, like, the guys who see, we gave Danielle Hunter $48 million. We haven't seen a sack in a couple of weeks from you. Will Anderson Jr., the reigning defensive rookie of the year, we haven't seen a sack from you.
Yeah.
You need this edge duo, to pick it up. And if
I agree.
Ferocious, if they do get to the quarterback, man, this defense just gets a step better. Just think about all the pressure that could have been sacks.
No, I agree with you 100%. And I think they will start getting there. If you remember, Will Anderson was getting good pressure at the beginning of the year last year and not quite getting there. And then he figured out, I think that's going to balance itself out. Eventually, you got to keep getting those pressures. Those pressures will turn into sacks. And, our young secondary, I'm going to give Kamari Lassiter some flowers. He made a really bad play on the touchdown that he allowed to Keon Coleman, but he made up for it. In the fourth quarter, he almost had an interception. If he had not been interfered with, I believe he probably would have picked one off. I love that our young guys, him and Kalen Bullock, they're contributing. They've got short memories. Yeah, they've been burnt a few times. They've missed some tackles, but they just keep balling out, man. And I have no complaints about this defense other than the fact that, I don't know, man, Al-Shaair, like I said, he was sick. He was blowing his nose and he had some boogers on his fingers. I don't know. That should make it stickier, right? So he should be able to. Right. I don't know what was going on. But yeah, you got to get those because as the season continues and the stakes get higher, those are the plays, man, that make the difference between the 9-10 win teams and the 13-14 win teams that are making deep runs in the playoffs. And when you have those opportunities, the whole time that I was texting my buddy who's a Bills fan, he gave up on them before halftime. And I'm like, bro, the Texans are letting them hang around, and it is Josh Allen. So let's pump the brakes on saying that it's over. But, he's one of those very skeptical fans who believes his negativity is like the reverse psychology or something. I don't know. But I was like, bro, the Texans are kind of letting them hang around. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, man, here's a couple of things that I would like to see them fix. The turnovers, obviously. CJ threw his first pick that was really on him. Now, I got to say, man, the linebacker made a hell of a play. He did okie doke him because I don't know how he switched direction that quickly. CJ did not see him coming. So credit where credit is due. And another thing, man, we've played really good defenses this year. So every team that we've played has got some part of their defense, either the line, the secondary, that is pretty much elite. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna panic, man. We're 4-1. We're 4-1, man, and we have an
just beat a
opportunity.
really good football team, man.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're having a whole whole different conversation like we did last week.
Yeah.
Right? Of this was an underwhelming victory against the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're supposed to put them away. They haven't won a football game,
Right.
and this one, you're like, we just beat a really good football team.
Yeah.
Who has a MVP caliber quarterback. And we should feel damn good about this because a lot of people, right, after that Vikings game, it was, right, you can only beat the crappy teams. That's it. You can only beat the AFC South. That's it.
Yeah.
And the fact that you beat the Buffalo Bills, man, you have to feel good as a Houston Texans fan. You beat Green Bay at Lambeau. Ooh, we're going to be feeling, real good about this Houston Texans team. I'm already am now with the amount of injuries and the fact that we haven't seen Joe Mixon since week 2. When does he come back? But once this Houston Texans team is firing in all cylinders, man, I don't know who's going to be able to stop these guys. Yeah,
I don't want to overlook the Patriots because that's a trap game. If you're looking ahead to Green Bay, I'm not, because as good as we feel right now, if you lose to the Patriots next week, it's all out the window. All that stuff's down the drain. So you got to handle business, man. Like you said, I think they have a chance to beat them without Nico Collins. Nico, rest up. Christian Harris, rest up. We're going to be getting Danico Autry back pretty soon, man. I'm really loving the pressure that the Texans defensive line is getting up the middle. And I know you said you want Danielle Hunter and Anderson to get those sacks. But those sacks that we're getting in the middle are in large part thanks to the pressure that they're bringing from the outside. So
then I need 2 or 3, man, because one just doesn't cut it for me.
I'm with you. And I think, like I said, I think that's going to balance itself out. I think they're going to start to get there. As knock on wood, as long as everybody stays healthy, I think this team is going to continue to improve. By the time we get to week 18, it's going to be a completely different team. So let me get some position grades from you. We do this pretty much every week after the game. I want to start with the D-line. You just were maligning that they weren't getting there. What grade would you give them then?
I'll still grade them very high because it was just a hell of a day for Josh Allen, to throw the football. I'll give them a B+. Like I said, they were able to create pressure. My only concern, not my concern, but my, critique is they just got to get some of those pressures into sacks, right? You don't want to be the almost, defensive end who just cannot get to the quarterback. Yeah. We know this team can. We know Danielle Hunter had 16.5 sacks last year. We know Will Anderson Jr. was a defensive rookie of the year. Just get home. Otherwise, man, they had a fantastic day. They made life hell for 17, and you could say that this defense won you the game today.
Yeah, I had to give them an A- because they weren't getting there and because they were getting gashed in the run game at times. But that was really on the whole defense. So I actually D-line, linebackers, and secondary, I gave them all A-. Would have been straight A or A+ if we were getting those sacks, if we had gotten those. The Texans are not creating turnovers right now. And that's one of the things that they're going to have to get better at as the season comes along. They're not getting sacks and they're not creating turnovers. And when you start playing some of these elite offenses, man, the only opportunities sometimes you're going to get is if you can turn them over, because 9 times out of 10, they're getting at least 3, if not 7. So you're going to have to start creating turnovers. I gave the offensive line a B+. What do you think?
Take that.
Okay.
I'll take that. They had their mess up in the third quarter. I mean, the entire offense had a mess up in the third quarter, but the first half was what I wanted to see. And man, you go back to that first quarter, this passing attack was what you wanted to see all season. And it's just one play, boom. And CJ Stroud was only sacked 1 time, I believe. I cannot wait to see when Joe Mixon comes back, but your running back was still able to average, 4 yards a carry. Cam Akers. A good day for the offensive line, and you wanted them to have a good day with no Von Miller, no Ed Oliver.
Yeah. How much longer do you think Titus Howard is playing right tackle for this team?
Dude, I don't know.
They just gave him an extension. I think he's like a $29 million cap hit if you cut him right now. But he's always hurt. When he does play, he's average to sometimes below average. And Fisher didn't have a great game, but he's young. And I think you got to get a good look at him to find out like what you need to do going forward with that position, because I don't think Titus Howard is the permanent answer.
No. I don't. I think Blake Fisher is either going to be your starting right tackle or your starting left tackle in a couple of years, depending on what happens with Laramie and Titus. But,
Yeah.
with Titus, it's just a disappointment.
Yeah.
Um, his one season at right tackle was pretty good, which is one of the reasons why he got that big 3-year extension, but just has not lived up to it whatsoever. Um,
And he has a hard time staying on
you
the
can't
field.
cut him, right? You can't trade him because, uh, you know, what kind of value does Titus Howard have to other
I
teams?
don't think he has any right now at all. So
And
I
if
don't
you
know.
do make a trade, you will have to take a significant amount of that contract.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be here next year.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a disappointment that we can't rely on him to be there on the field on
Do
Sundays.
you have to play him just because you're paying him though? And here, the NFL, NFL contracts are
Well, he's
not
still
worth
better than
the
Blake
paper
Fisher
that they're
is,
written on.
so it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure, for
so,
sure.
if he's 100% ready to go, I will put Titus Howard out there. He still has some good moments.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they're so, spared throughout the season.
Yeah,
It is disappointing that he was not out there. However, we are seeing the future here, which is kind of a good takeaway from this. But with the contract situation of Titus Howard, man, it's not looking good right now.
yeah, it doesn't look great. Doesn't look great. I gave the receivers and the tight ends a B plus. What you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be fair. Yeah, I'll give him a B plus. I mean, hell, if Nico's in, we probably give him an A.
Yeah.
But Stephon Diggs stepped up. Tank Dell had some catches. Dalton Schultz had a big catch in the fourth quarter. I want to see him more involved in this passing game with Nico potentially out. But
Yeah,
these pass catchers weren't an issue. Didn't turn the ball over. These guys were there when CJ needed them.
yeah. Another one of my candidates for game ball was Daria Gumbawale. I know he wasn't the leading rusher among the running backs, but he had himself a game, bro.
Third downs, man.
Yeah,
2 key
absolutely.
third down conversions. And, you could argue that this is back-to-back, game balls for Dare.
Mm-hmm.
The game-winning touchdown last week against Jacksonville. I think Darway is something when he has the ball in his hands. And I think the Houston Texans are starting to realize that he had 7 targets in this game.
Yeah.
And he had, let me go back and check. Yeah. He had 6 receptions for 57 yards.
He is a true Swiss Army knife, man.
He is a true Swiss Army knife, right? Shout out to Bill Bryan. Versatility. The word that we used to hate, but shout out to Dare.
Yeah. He's had 2 really good games in a row. And, Cam Akers, I thought he was pretty good too.
It's just not Joe Mixon,
right.
which is fine.
It's just fine. And I think the running game is going to continue to improve as well. I gave the running backs together a B. Quarterback, I gave a B plus just because of the turnovers. And then let's talk about, this is the guy I'm probably giving the game ball to. I got 4 candidates. I got Kaimi Fairbairn, Azeez Al-Shaair, Nico Collins, even though he only played a quarter, and Daria Gumbawale. But
you have to give it to Emi, man. Like what Emi has probably won you arguably all 4 of these games.
Yeah.
And we're talking about multiple 50-yard field goals. And early in his career, you didn't feel like he could make them, right? Your confidence level in Emi the first couple of years weren't so high.
Yeah.
Now I think he's going to boot it every single time. The Texans leader in scoring. Shout out to Kaimi Fairbairn.
Yeah,
he might be one of the best kickers in the NFL, right?
I think he is the best right now.
I know we love Justin Tucker, and I love Justin Tucker too. He's been spotty, 50 yards plus, but Kaimi Fairbairn, man, it seems like anytime we're in that territory, we're in Houston Texans territory, it's a 3, which is why we get upset when these penalties take us out of field goal range, because we know that's a 3 from Kaimi Fairbairn. He has been money.
Yeah.
He's been money the past couple of seasons. I know a lot of people were upset when he got that contract extension. He's one of the best kickers in the NFL, ladies and gentlemen, if not the best. Shout out to Kaimi Fairbairn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he is proof that every position in football, you can improve, you can get better. Like you said, when he first got here, I don't think he could really hit from 50 plus at all. I don't think he had that type of range. So obviously he's been honing his craft. He's been getting better. And I hope that he's the Texans kicker for a long time. Now, you know how the NFL is, man. He misses a couple that's a really short leash he's going to be on. We love him now, but if he misses a couple of crucial ones, and once again, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But as it stands right now, I think he is the best kicker in the NFL. And like you said, the Texans' leading scorer now. He's been here through some really rough years, so I'm really happy for him. I'm happy for this Texans team. I'm with you, man. I'm giving him the game ball for this one.
Yeah, man, he deserves it.
I mean, 59 yards. He was literally on the logo
and
when
dude,
he let
like,
that
when
thing
you
fly.
Saw the kick, it looked like it was gonna go wide left, and then it just
it looked
right
a lot.
over
It
to
looked a lot
down
like
the middle.
Yeah, it looked a lot like my golf shot. It just kind of did that.
I was like,
that
wow.
fade to the right. But it was an amazing kick, man. And you know what? Shout out to Mark Vandermeer. You did a great call. But Iron Eagle, when he said Clutch City, man, I just got goosebumps. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, because that's what this team is about.
Just keep winning football games, dude. That's
yeah, man. And I know that the coaching staff, especially D'Amico Ryans, he loves winning games like that. And he's just so happy that this team does whatever it takes to win. I mean, even it may seem really small, but that catch that Ngumbawale made just to get a little bit closer to that field goal, that was the difference between kicking a 59 and a 62, Mm-hmm. And that could have made the difference right there. So, and shout out to CJ Stroud, man. He balls out when he needs to at the right time.
Doesn't collapse, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If I would have thrown an interception in the fourth quarter and I would have turned it over in the fourth quarter in the red zone, my mind would have been shot.
Yeah.
The fact that this young man who's 23 years old is still able to overcome that and still have, you could say it's a game-winning drive, even though it was only 2 plays. Right. I'll take that. Yeah. CJ Stroud has been money, dude. This is a franchise quarterback. He's only going to get better. Dude, yeah. He has like the mind of a Peyton Manning, of a Tom Brady, next play mentality.
Yeah, and he's setting all kinds of records. The debate of who has the best quarterback in the AFC South, which never should have really been a debate in the first place, but you're a part of AFC South War Zone. It's been over, man.
Since last year.
Yeah, the kid's legit, man. And I'm so happy that he's here. When you see what's going on with Deshaun Watson over in Cleveland, would you have, when Deshaun left, Deshaun was viewed as a generational franchise quarterback.
Michael Jordan.
And everybody thought to themselves, man, it took us this long to get one. Mm-hmm. We're never going to get another one. And the fact that because of that trade, you end up being able to get CJ Stroud and Will Anderson, and you've set the future of both sides of the ball in one draft, man. That's why I love the NFL, man. And all I want them to do is to continue to improve. There are some things they need to get better at. Let's get rid of the penalties. Let's stop the run better. Let's run the ball better. And as a side note, Tommy Townsend, I'm going to give you credit for that last punt.
He's on suspect.
It was brilliant. But, bro, he's shanked a few. It's making me miss Cameron Johnston, man. I didn't know why we let him go in the first place. I know Tommy, he's got a leg, but he's been shanking him. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see, man. But I'm just really happy with this win. I don't want us to sleep on the Patriots. Don't overlook them because, look, man, going to Lambeau Field, playing Green Bay, it's probably going to be, you'll be able to see your breath on the field, all the legendary history from there. It's going to be really easy to overlook these Patriots because, the hoodie's not on the sideline anymore. Tom Brady's not there, but you can't sleep on any team in the NFL. So I hope that they don't overlook that. And I think that D'Amico Ryans is the right coach to make sure that doesn't happen. But I'm just looking forward to the next 2 weeks, man, because I think we have a real good chance to be 6-1, 5-2, worst case scenario.
I 100% agree, dude. It's been a fun ride so far. Every game, it feels like a heartbreak. I just cannot wait, for this Sunday against the Patriots, man. Then it's on a Lambeau, then it's on to whoever's next, right? The best thing, the great thing about week 5, Nick, is that there's week 6.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. And we get to get together, my brother, and do this podcast, hopefully after another win.
I know we haven't had, we've only had one sad podcast.
Only one sad. And you know what, man? I hope we don't have to have very many of them. But you know what?
I hope not either.
It was still a really good episode, man. Shout out to you. I'm going to say this over and over again, man. The fact that you took the chance to start a podcast with me, I may be a little bit biased, man, but I think this is one of the best damn Houston Texans podcasts there is out there, man. So shout out to you. Shout out to the listeners. Shout out to ESPN Houston for allowing us to use their platform. Don't forget, we do preview episodes on Ruben's channel, 713 Houston Sports. Go subscribe. Go hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Please subscribe to the Houston Sports State of the Union podcast. That's where you will find all of my content. Once again, those links will be in the description where you can find our socials and everywhere you can consume our content. Man, I'm so excited for this week. I'm going to go check out this Usher concert. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get ready for our preview of the Patriots. And hopefully, man, we'll be preparing Houston for another dub.
Absolutely, man. Can't wait.
All right, man. So if you don't have anything else to add, I'm going to say goodbye to our listeners. And you know what I want you to do until we see you next time. You stay 10 toes down for the H. We love you. Good night.